everyone, welcome to Xcoding with Alvian. In this video, we're going to build a live activity broadcast election result iOS app using Google Cloud Firestore and Cloud Functions for the server and database. Let me give you a quick demo. So here I have the Firestore DB console open, as well as the iOS simulator listening to the elections collection from the Firestore database in real time. So let me try to create a new election directly from the dashboard. I have pre-filled all the fields, and this is for the US election 2024. Candidate A will be Kamala Harris and candidate B will be Donald Trump. Okay, now let me try to save this election to the Firestore. Okay, boom, if you see, it is created, and here we have it shown in the iOS app. And if you notice, after subsequent seconds we created this channel ID is also created. So this is the channel ID that we can use to basically start the live activity from the iOS app. Okay, so in the iOS app we have the button to start the live activity for the related channel ID. So let me try to start the real-time updates for this Kamala and Donald Trump. Okay, tap. Now let me try to bring the notification lock screen. Okay, as you can see, the live activity is shown in here. And now let me go back. So this is the dynamic island live activity in compact state. It is shown as well. Nice. And this is for the dynamic island expanded state. So let me try to update the fields in here. So let me get the latest number. Okay, 226 and 295. So let me try to update for Kamala. So the count will be 226. Okay, for Kamala, update. Boom, as you see, it's also updated there. And let's set the percent to, for Kamala, let's set it to 40%. Okay, we are using fraction for this. And let me also update the Donald Trump count to 293 and the percent to 55%, 0.55. Update. Boom. Okay, so sorry, Donald Trump is 295. Okay, now we have successfully updated the US election results using the latest count from this website. This is from Google, I think. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it for the demo. And before we begin, let me give you a brief high-level overview of the architecture and the flow of this application. Okay, so here I have created a diagram in here. So let me start the slideshow. Okay, so basically we have three components: the Google Firestore database with Cloud Functions trigger for the server, and at the middle we have the Apple APNS channel for the live activity broadcast, and at the right side we have the mobile devices, okay, running iOS. And first we store the election document using the Google Cloud Firestore database inside the elections collection. Then we attach the cloud functions to the Google Cloud Firestore, which will basically trigger our server-side code anytime election document is created, updated, or deleted. So when an election is created, it will trigger a server code to create the channel ID using the APNS channel management API. Then it will write back the channel ID to the election document in the database. So APNS channel support up to 10,000 channels, okay, for productions and also development. And next, for the update document, it will trigger the code to broadcast the live activity updates to all the subscribed client devices given the channel ID using the APNS channel broadcast API. And on the delete document, it will trigger the code to delete channel ID related to our application ID or bundle ID using the APNS channel management API. So the iOS app listens to the Firestore elections collection for the real-time updates to get all the elections, and then basically the user can start the live activity related to the elections using the associated channel ID for the push type. So every time the DB got updated, it will broadcast the election stat updates to the user. So basically this on election updates. Okay. Every time this got updated with the new election results, it will broadcast the live activity updates to all the subscribed user given the channel ID. So that's the high level architecture diagram for our live activity broadcast election results app. And now let's begin our implementation. Okay. So let me minimize this and let me close the simulator. Okay, so we don't have the starter project for this. Let's just create a new iOS project. Okay, iOS and select application. And for the product name, just give the product name that you want. So I'm going to give it a live election tutorial. Okay, select swiftui and just select none for testing system and storage. Okay, click next and save it anywhere you want. Okay, then we need to make several configuration first. First, for this bundle ID, right? I really recommend you to use lowercase for this, because when I try to create a new channel ID using the bundle ID with capital letter, it gives a topic mismatch error. So just to avoid that issue, let's just update this to use a bundle ID with all lowercase. Okay, and I'm going to give the name of live broadcast com.alvinlosari live broadcast for my app ID or bundle ID. Okay, and the next thing is we need to add the push notification capability. Just click this push notification and basically search for push notification and add it to our app. Okay, and the next thing is we need to add the live activity support to the info plist. Okay, so go to this info plist and I'm just going to use row keys and values, going to add a new row, live activities, this one. Okay, so it accepts a boolean, just set this to yes. And let's also add one for the NS support live activity frequent updates. In case the updates is happening frequently, it should be able to handle this as well. Okay, so set this to yes as well. Okay, so NS support live activities and NS support live activities frequent updates. Okay, we have added this. Now let's create a new target. And find widget extension. Just give it the name of anything you want. I'm going to give it a name of my widget. Check this include live activity. Okay, click finish. It should create a new target in here. Okay, so we don't need this my widget.swift file. Move to trash, and my widget bundle, just remove this. Okay. Okay, let me set the font to be larger. Okay, now we can start. Next, let's create a new folder at the root level of the project. Okay, give it the name of shared. This will contain shared files between two targets, extension target and the main application. And inside this shared folder, create a new models folder. Okay, we will put all our models inside here. So first, let's create a new Swift file and give it a name election. Okay, and for the targets, make sure the main app target and also the extension target both are checked. Okay, create, and let's create a protocol first for our model. Let's give it a name of election type. Okay, so for all the fields, we will mimic all the fields that we use in the database for the schema. Okay, so first one, we will have the a name string, okay, get, and b name string get. Okay, so to save time, I'm going to basically copy this. Okay, of course it will take too much time if I type it one by one. Let me paste the remaining fields. Okay, a name, b name, account, b count, a person, and also the image name, they are optionals. Okay, and if you see in here, we don't have the channel ID and this ID field. Okay, because both of them are only used for the main app. Okay, so we will create a separate model for the main app and also for the live activity widget attributes content state. Okay, so for the main app, we will create a struct and give it a name of election, and we make it conform to the election type. Okay, election type, and also codable, identifiable, and hashable. Okay, and let me copy all of these fields and paste it on the complete project. Okay, so for the election model for the main app, we have the additional ID field. Okay, because we conform to identifiable and we want to display the election model inside the list. Okay, and we also have the additional channel ID in here, and also we have the separate property to determine whether the button to subscribe to the live activity will be shown or not later. Okay, so you may be wondering why we have separate models. It's because the live activity attributes content state payload is only limited to the maximum payload size of 4 kilobytes. So we only want to use the fields that we want to use. Okay, that's why I created a separate model for this live activity widget attributes, content state, and the main app model. Okay, now we have this, and the next one, let's create another new file. Okay, inside the models folder, give it a name of election widget attributes. Okay, make sure both targets are checked as well, and in here I'm going to copy and paste as well to save time. Okay, so first we need to import activity kit because this election widget attributes need to conform to the activity attributes. Okay, and this election widget attribute itself will have the ID. So this is the election ID that will be passed when we start the live activity for the first time. And for the content state, that this will be the payload that we will broadcast using through the APNS channel broadcast API from the cloud functions later. Okay, so if you see in here, we don't have the ID, we don't have the channel ID because we are not using that to show the live activity updates in the widget UI. Okay, this is for the election widget attributes, and that's it for the models. Next, let's create a new folder inside this shared folder. Okay, give it a name of views and create the new swiftui view file and give it a name of election view. Okay, make sure to check both the main app and extension target for the widget. Okay, and create. Next, let's add a inject election, add a constant election with the type of election type. Okay, and let's inject this in the preview. First, I want to put this inside a list and election view election. We're going to use the election widget attributes content state. Okay, so let's just initialize it. For the candidate A, it should be Kamala Harris, B Donald Trump, and A count it will be just 226, and B count 295. A% it should be 40, B 55, and for the A image name it will be Kamala Harris, and B image name will be Donald Trump. So this will be loaded from our assets catalog, this image name. Okay, now let's move on to the body of the election view. Just declare a view stack with the spacing of 12, and then let's declare an image tag to put the image for the candidates. So for the image itself, I will be showing you by using an image that will be loaded from the assets catalog. So I will prepare all my image in the assets catalog by copying them. Okay, so this is for the main app target, and also for the widget extension target. Okay, so basically the widget extension target doesn't have the capability to render the image from the network when rendering the live activity widget UI. Okay, it won't give you the access to download the image from the network using the async image view. So for the simplicity of this tutorial, I will just put all the images inside the assets catalog, and then it will be loaded using the image name field. Okay, so for example, for the candidate A, I put Kamala Harris, it will try to load it from the assets catalog. Okay, so one cons of using this approach, it means every time we want to add a new image, we need to basically add those to the assets catalog and publish a new version to App Store. Okay, so in the future, I will create a separate badcast video tutorial that will show you how to load the image dynamically from the live activity. Okay, so please wait for that future badcast video. Okay, and for the simplicity of this tutorial, I won't be covering that because it will take too much time. Okay, and remember that the payload, maximum payload for the content state in the live activity updates is only maximum of 4 kilobytes. So even if you try to use base64 decoded image, I think it won't fit the maximum payload of the size. Okay, even if you try to compress the image. Okay, so now let's continue by creating a circle image view. Circle image view. Okay, and for this, let's declare the constants image name string optional and the background color. Okay, so the background color for this tutorial is also going to be hard coded. So the left one will be blue, the right one will be red. Okay, so but if you want to adjust that dynamically, you can by adding a new field to this model schema. Okay, for example, something like A color or B color that you can represent with some kind of number and then load it dynamically in the when the you send the live activity updates or you want to render it in the UI. Okay, and next one is the size, CG size. So let's provide a default size of 40 by 40 for the circle image, and let's render the body some view. Let's initialize a swiftui image, passing the image name to load from the assets catalog. In case that is nil, let's just pass an empty string, resizable, and background will be the background color that we pass, and let's add a clip shape circle. Okay, and let's add a frame width size dot width and height size dot height. Okay, so this is the circle image. Now let me refresh this so it can be reviewed in real time, and let's begin by declaring the circle image in the h tag. Okay, so let's pass elections a image name, and the background color for the left one will be blue. Okay, there you go. We have the Kamala Harris inside the circle image, and let's pass the count using string interpolation, a count. and let's set the font to title and add a spacer. Okay, let me copy the text and just change this to b count. Copy the circle image after the text and change the image name to b image name, and the biggie color for the right one should be red. Okay, that's it for the first line in the vertical stack. And now let's implement a custom progress view. So for this custom progress view, I basically created that using the ChatGPT with some manual adjustment. So basically it uses three rectangles as the building block. So let me try to just copy and paste the custom progress view code. So below the circle image, let's paste the custom progress view. Okay. So basically it uses three rectangles as the building block, and basically it accepts the left value and the right value from the initializer to determine the length for the left and right rectangles. So the maximum combined value from this left and right value should be equal to 1. Okay. So the middle one will be the remaining one between the left and right. Okay. So let me try to declare that in the h tag in here. Below the h tag, let's declare the custom progress view. Okay, for the left value, we can pass that from the election A%, and right value will be election B%. Okay, so currently in the stop, I set the candidate A percentage to be 40. Okay, so this is 40%, and candidate B to be 55%. Okay, so this is 55%, and the remaining 10% will be this middle rectangle. Okay, so that's how this custom progress view works. So kudos to ChatGPT to generate this code. Okay, although it's not perfect for the first time, I need some manual tuning. Okay, but it saves us the time to grab that. Now let's continue by declaring the bottom h tag. Okay, and in here let's just declare tags passing election candidate A name. Let's set the font to sub headline and set the foreground style to secondary. Okay, copy, paste, change the election to B name. Okay, and let's set a spacer in between. We have successfully created this election view. This will be used in the main app inside the list, and also to render the live activity widget inside the extension target. So next, inside this my widget folder, okay, create a new Swift file for this and give it a name of election live activity. Okay, so this is the file that will render the live activity widget inside the my widget extension target. So just uncheck this main app target. Okay, we only need this the my widget extension target and create it. Okay, so first we're going to declare several stops. Okay, in here, so I'm going to just copy and paste the stops to save some time. Okay, so first let's import activity kit and widget kit. Okay, I don't think we need activity kit actually. Okay, so this is the extension for the preview. Okay, this is just an election widget attributes with a UUID generated, and this is the content state for the stop that we are using. Okay, and now we need to declare three previews. The first one is for the notification lock screen. Okay, so notification is using that election widget attributes preview that we have created, and the content state. We haven't created the widget live activity yet, so doesn't matter for now. Let me copy and paste the remaining ones. The next one is the expanded state, okay, using the as dynamic element expanded and the dynamic as compact using the dynamic element compact. Okay, now let's create the action widget live activity at the top in here. Action widget live activity, and then in here let's declare the body, okay, some widget configuration. So we will initialize activity configuration for content and dynamic element. Okay, so for the type here, it's going to be election widget attributes.self. Okay, and for the content, it will be shown in the notification log screen. And the dynamic element, for the dynamic element, just rename this to context in as well. Okay, so for the view that will be shown in the notification log screen, we'll just declare election view. Okay, passing context.state, because this also conforms to the election type, okay, that is accepted by the election view, and then add a padding in here. Okay, and for the dynamic island, we can simply declare a dynamic island. Okay, so for the expanded state, we can simply declare a dynamic island expanded region. Okay, and here I'm going to position this in the center. Okay, and then inside here I'm just going to also declare the election view passing the state, and I'm going to add a bottom padding. Okay, and what's the error in here? Oh, we need to also import swiftui. Okay, that's it for the notification lock screen. We have this rendered successfully, and the dynamic island expanded as well. Okay, nice. Now for the compact leading. For the compact leading, we can simply just go and copy and paste this. So we have this edge tag. Okay, let me change this to dynamic island compact. For the leading, okay, we just put an edge tag with a circle image, passing the candidate A image name, set the background color to blue, and also set the width for the circle image to be 20 by 20. Okay, so it can be fit in the dynamic island in the compact leading state. And for the trailing one, I'm just going to copy and paste as well in here. Okay, so also edge tag and then a special, then the text come first with the candidate B count, and the circle image containing the candidate B image name with the background color of red. Okay, so for the minimal, I won't be showing it for this tutorial. Okay, so only for the compact, expanded, and the notification state. Okay, now we have all our live activity widget for all the states, notification, dynamic element, and that's it for the implementation of this election widget live activity. But there's one more thing that we need to do. So we don't need this widget live activity file. So let's just delete it. And then in here, this is the entry point of the widget target extension. We need to basically declare the action widget live activity. Next, let's move on to the main app target. So this content view. First, let's declare a view model first for the main app. View model. Okay. And in here, we can simply import activity kit, import swiftui, and import the observation. Okay, and I'm going to make this observable and set it to run in main actor, selection context, and declare class view model. Okay, and first one is we're going to have a observable property, which is elections that will be rendered. So election array. Okay, so this is it for the view model initial implementation. So let's move on to the content view. So we can just replace this body, and first one is we're going to declare a navigation stack, and declare a list passing the view model elections. So let me declare this view model as a state first. Okay, elections, and then in here election in. So in here we can simply render the election using the election. Okay, and now there will be additional view in here. So let's put this inside a v stack with the spacing of 8. So below this selection view, I want to display a button for the user to subscribe to start the live activity, given if the channel ID exists in the model. Okay, so the channel ID won't be created the first time this document got created, right? Because it will be created by the server using the onCreate document trigger that will hit the APNS channel management API to create the channel and then write it back to the election document. Okay, so the first time it will be nil. So only if this exists, and also if false, this election is live activity registered. This is optional, so let's provide a default value of false. And if it is not registered, then we will show the button get real-time live activity updates. Okay, and set the button style to bordered prominent. Okay, we will add the implementation to listen to the code Firestore database a bit later, as well as implementing the start the live activity a bit later as well. Okay, and this is this, and in here I'm going to add a navigation title, give it the name of live elections, and on appear. So I'm just going to put this empty, but later we will add a code to start listening to the Firestore collection for the elections document. Okay, so this is the initial implementation for the content view. So now let's move on by integrating Firebase to our iOS app. Okay, so the first thing for this Firebase, you need to navigate to this firebase.google.com and just sign up if you haven't, and then go to the console. Okay, and if you don't have any project, just create a new project. Okay, but I will be using my existing project. Okay, so after that, it will basically bring you to this screen, this project overview. So the first thing that you need to do is just to navigate to this Firestore database and then provision your Firestore database. So it will give you an option to select the region that you want. So I just use my default location, the US location for the region. And also for our development purposes, you also need to update the write and read rules. So basically, for this, I just allow all the read and write for any client. Okay, but remember, in the production you need to be careful. Maybe you want to only allow read and write for the authenticated user. Okay, but for this tutorial, for the simplicity, I'm just going to allow read and write from the client application. Okay, so after you set the rule, then second one is you need to navigate to the functions. Okay, and I think you need to enable blast plan, which means you need to put your credit card to run these serverless functions. Okay, so this is the functions. So, and next one, just go to the project overview and just create a new app in here. Select iOS, okay, and provide your bundle ID, which you can get from the signing and capabilities. Okay, so select the main target. Okay, don't use the my widget extension target. So this is my bundle ID. Okay, but I won't be adding this because I already have this con Alvin Losari live broadcast identifier in here. Okay, so after you added that, then it will give you the option to basically download the Google Service Info playlist. So download this Google Service Info playlist, and then you just need to drag and drop this to your project and put this under the main app. Okay, main app target. Okay, make sure this main app is checked. No need to add for the main widget extension. We already have this Google Service, and if you we can continue by adding the Firebase iOS SDK as a dependencies to our app. Okay, so package dependencies and then plus. So basically to get the address, you can, for the SPM, you can copy it from here. Okay, GitHub, and then just paste this, and then just add the package. Okay, and here we only need to add Firebase Firestore to our main application target. Okay, so only this, and then click add package. Okay, it's going to add this to our main app. And the next thing that we need to do, we need to configure it when the app launches. So we need to go to the entry point of the app, and basically we need to create a custom app delegate file. Okay, so first we need to import Firebase core, and we need to create a custom app delegate class. I'm just going to paste this. Just create a class app delegate, and then override this application did finish launching with options, and then invoke firebase app.configure. Okay, and then we're going to put this as dependencies into our main app. Okay, so it can be invoked when the app launch. Okay, using this UI application delegate app adapter and pass the type of the custom app delegate class. Okay, so that's it for the Firebase SDK integration to the iOS project. Okay, and the next one is to listen to the collections in the database. We can simply go to the view model, and let's declare the DB in here by invoking Firestore dot Firestore. Okay, we need to import Firebase Firestore. Okay, and then after that, Firebase Firestore, it's a method, I think. Okay, and we just need to create a func listen to live election. Okay, election collection. So in here we can use the database and then set the collection. We're going to use the elections collection from the Firestore, and we're going to add a snapshot listener. Okay, and here it's going to pass to parameter snapshot and the error. Okay, so here we just need to use guard let snapshot, else we're just going to print an error fetching snapshot, error dot localize description. Okay, error. Okay, and then just return. It might give you an error if you don't have the permission, but for this tutorial we already set the rule for the access read and write to all the client without any need for authentication. Okay, and continuing on, let's get the snapshot documents. Using snapshot.documents, it will give us the array of the query document snapshot. Okay, and then continuing on, we need to convert this to the elections. So now we need to declare an action as the type. So we're going to use docs compact map. Okay, so first let's get the election using var and try. In here it should be this parameter. Okay, and then we can invoke data and pass the type that we want to convert to. It should be conforming to the codable protocol for this to work. Okay, so if it fails, we just return nil. Okay, and if it's able to decode to elections, this document, then we're going to invoke election is live activity registered. So we can check whether it's registered or not by using this activity and then pass the election widget attributes. Okay, this is from the activity kit API, and then using this contains where. So in the where we can basically pass if this ID is equal with the election.id. Okay, it means if this is activity already runs, this will access in here, and then this will be set to true. Okay, this is live activity registered property in the election. Okay, and then after that we can just return the election. Okay, now we have the elections, and then we can update the UI using this with animation and ourself.elections with the elections. Okay, and then after that we can simply go to the content view, and then in the on up here we can simply invoke vm.start listen to live elections collections. Okay, so still loading. Yeah, as you can see, we have 4 elections shown in real time. So every time we update this, it's also going to get updated in the UI. Okay, documents fields need to basically conform properly to this election. Okay, otherwise the decoding will fails. Okay, so if you see the ID, it's required, right? It's not optional, it's there. Channel ID is optional, image URL is optional. Sorry, I don't think we need the image URL in here. Okay, image name optional, image name for B also optional. Okay, so they don't need to be included, it's not mandatory. Okay, now we can continue to move to the server side implementation to basically listen to document created, document updated, document deleted, and communicate with the APNS channel management and broadcast API. Okay, so let's begin the implementation. Okay, next, just go to your Apple developer account dashboard and select your app ID for the notifiers. And then in here, you need to scroll down to the push notification. Okay, and make sure you check this broadcast capability and then click save. Okay, so I already did this. And now for authenticating from our server with the APNS server, we need to create our service key. So just navigate to this developer account dashboard and select this key, and then you need to create a new key if you haven't created one, and then check this Apple push notification service APNs. Okay, so it can be used to establish a connection between notification server and the APNS. Okay, so one key can be used for all the apps. So I already have my APNS key in here. Okay, so after you create it, it will download the P8 file to your machine. So it will only be generated once. Okay, so you cannot download it again in the future. Okay, so I already created mine. Okay, Apple push notification sandbox and production. Okay, so after you created the P8, I just also want to show you this CloudKit console for this bundle ID or RFID. So basically, you can also create the channel ID manually from this CloudKit push notification console if you want. Okay. So, but for us, we won't be creating this manually. So we will just use our server to basically hit the APNS channel managing API when a new election is created programmatically. Okay. So that those are the things. Now we can begin to implement the Firebase cloud functions. So let me bring my terminal. Okay, so this is my terminal window. So first you need to basically install Node.js 18 if you haven't. So you just use homebrew to install it. Brew install Node.js 18. Okay, I already installed that in my local machine. And also I encourage you to install the OpenJDK as well. Okay, using homebrew. Is the Java development kit. Okay, so after you install that, you need to basically install the Firebase tools, okay, which provide the Firebase CLI that we can use to deploy our functions, okay, and also use the Firebase emulator if you want, okay. Already installed that in my local machine as well, and then make sure you also install VS Code for the code editor, okay. And after that, after you install that, just navigate to your project folder and just create a new folder, okay, Firebase, and navigate to that. And then in here, just create Firebase, just type Firebase login to basically authenticate. Already authenticated already logged in using my account, okay. And then after that, you need to init the Firebase in this directory and then associate it with the project. Type Firebase in it. So for this, I'm going to only use the Firebase functions. Okay. I think it's the best to use sudo for this because it will need to download several dependencies just to avoid the permission error. Okay. Select functions and just select the existing project that you have created in the Firebase console. Okay. I'm going to use this live score broadcast project. Okay. And I'm going to select TypeScript for the language and ESLint to catch. I'm going just to select now. Okay. And then select yes to install the npm dependencies. Okay. Just wait to install all the dependencies for the functions. Okay. Done. Now we can navigate to the functions folder and then open the Firebase, open the Visual Studio Code inside the directory. Okay, so there you go. We have this. So this is the place that we are going to put our server code. Okay, so let me just remove the placeholder, generator placeholder files. Okay, and I'm going to show you several of the documentation from Apple. So we're going to use two endpoints. One is the channel management endpoint. So this is for creating the channel and also deleting the channel. So for the sandbox environment, this is the endpoint AP manage broadcast sandbox port 2195. Okay, so this is documentation that we can refer to on how to create a channel, all the required header fields, the authorization. This is the bearer token that we will generate using the P8 file later. Okay, and this is the path /1/apps, the bundle ID /channels. The method should be post to create, and the message stored policy, whether we want it to no message stored or one for the recent message stored. Push type, it should be live activity. Okay, and the channel delete a channel as well. And to broadcast live activity, there will be a separate endpoint sending broadcast push notification request to APNS. So for this, for the development sandbox, it's going to be this apa.sandbox.push.apple.com 443, and the path it should be this /4/broadcast APS apps / the bundle ID. Method should be post authorization. This is the token that we're generating using the p8 file, and the priority, the push type, it should be live activity as well. Okay, the channel ID, will be the channel ID that we need to pass to update the related live activity, and also we need to pass the payload, which is the content state. Okay, so this is the documentation that we will basically need to implement in our server to create channel and also update broadcast and updates through the live activity channel. Okay, so let's begin. For this, I won't be typing the code one by one. I'm just going to copy and paste and then explain it to you. Okay, what it does, because it's going to use TypeScript. Okay, so first we just import all the dependencies. This is for the file, to load the file, p8 file, fs, the JWT to generate to sign the JWT token for the from the p8, and this is the NodeJS HTTP2. Okay, and then from the Firebase functions modules, we're going to import several methods: document created, document updated, and document deleted to attach our functions that will be triggered. And then initialize type from the Firebase admin and the get Firestore. So this will be used to basically communicate with the Firestore database. Okay, and this is the theme ID which you can get from your developer account. Okay, just look here at the top right and then put your theme ID, and then key ID should be your generated key here. So this is the p8 that I have created, and this is the key ID. Just put it in here, and then the p8 file path. Okay, now let me try to copy and paste this p8 file. So let me open this and let me drag and drop this p8 file. Okay, okay, that's it. The p8 file, it should be put in here. Now, yeah, there we go, the p8 file. Now let's continue. Here we have the p8 file path. Okay, referring to this, and bundle ID, just provide your own bundle ID in here. So this is my bundle ID, com.alvinlosari.live broadcast. So I'm using all the lowercase to avoid any issue when creating the channel that I've encountered before. And then just invoke this initialize app to initialize the Firebase admin inside the serverless function, and then initialize the DB with the get Firestore. Okay, and then after that, let's continue by generating the create a function to generate the authentication bearer token. Okay, so I'm just going to paste this. So this is a function get APNS out token that returns the string. So it's just going to use the fs to read the p8 file path from the p8 file path, and then just generate the second since epoch. Okay, and then generate the payload for the JWT, ISS, the team ID, and the seconds, the IIT is the second since epoch, and then invoke this JWT.sign, passing the payload and the private key, and the algorithm it should be ES256, and the key ID should be the key ID. Okay, and then it will return the final encrypt token that we will basically inject to the request authentication header. Okay, so that's for the generating the JWT token for authenticating with the APNS. Next one, let me copy this method to create the channel. Okay, so let me explain to you. this create channel. So this create channel basically return a promise. Okay, and in here we create a new promise, and then we initialize a new session using this APNS channel management sandbox endpoint. Okay, and then we attach a listener for the end error that will print this and throw an error, and then we just initialize the session request. So the method, it will be post, and for the path it's going to be /1/app/bundle/id/channels, and the authorization we're going to use this bearer, and then the invoking the get APNS auth token, and the content type will be application/JSON. Then we attach a listener and the response, get the status from their headers. Okay, again going to print the status for the log, and if the status is 201 created, we're going to resolve that. Okay, otherwise we will reject. Then it means it fails to generate channel, and then on the end we just close the session, and then before we making the request, we will include this JSON body message start policy to 0, so there's no storage. Push type will be a live activity. Okay, so this is the create channel. To create a new channel from the APNS channel management API, and the next one is to publish or broadcast to the channel. Okay, publish to APNS. So there are two parameters, channel ID and the payload JSON. Okay, and then just create a new HTTP2 session using this API broadcast sandbox 443. Okay, so for the production, for sure you also need to update this. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the example using the sandbox URL. Okay, and then attaching for the on error that will print the error, and then create a new session request method post, and the path will be this /broadcast/app/bundle ID, the bearer token, and the APNS channel ID. We need to basically include this, passing the channel ID. Push type should be live activity, expiration 0, priority will be 10, content type application the JSON, and when we receive the response, we're just going to print the status. Okay, and then as we receive the data, we're going to basically appending it the chunk to this data constant data variable, sorry, and then on the end we just close this and then print the data. Okay, and then before we initiate the request, we're going to just convert this to the JSON string using JSON.stringify, passing the JSON payload. Okay, so this is for the publishing, broadcasting the live activity updates, and the last one is the delete channel. So this method to delete the channel to the APNS channel management API, and basically the difference is this method, it was going to be delete. The path will be /1/apps/bundle/id/channels, the authorization, and we need to pass the channel ID that we want to delete. And basically on response we check if the status is 204 deleted, then we will just resolve this promise, otherwise we will reject. Okay, so those are the three building blocks, and now we need to attach to the document triggers. First one is when the document is created. Okay, our first function. So we paste this, so we're going to export this create function. So using the on document created, given these collections and this param election ID that we can get. So the closure here, we get the election ID using this event params that election ID. Okay, and then we just invoke the create channel method to get the channel ID, to create a new channel ID from the APNS channel management API, and then we're going to get the election document reference given the election ID. Okay, and then we are going to update the document with the channel ID that we have created. Okay, so that's for the on create, and the next one is for the on the document update, where we should broadcast it to the channel. Okay, so in here we just get the election. Here check if it is not null, and then get the channel ID, and then we just initialize the date for the timestamp in here. and we need to provide the content state that we want in here. So here I'm just going to, this basically, right, needs to be conform to this election widget attributes contract. Okay, otherwise it will fail. Okay, so a name, a count, a percent, b name, b count, b percent, image name, and b image name. Okay, so I get it from this election document. Okay, that we get and the document updated, so it will pass us the updated document. And finally, the last function is the onDelete function. Okay, this onDelete, on document deleted, get the election, get the election ID, and then invoke the delete channel, passing the channel ID, and that's it. When the document is deleted, it will also make the request to delete that channel from the APNS for this particular bundle ID. Now, we just need to now deploy our functions to Firebase. Okay, so to do that, we need to navigate back to this root project. Okay, firebase.json, and then we just need to invoke sudo firebase deploy only functions. Okay, so we need to wait a bit. So because I already have deployed these functions, so it's going to be much faster. But for you, if you have just deployed it for the first time, it will be taking some time because there's a lot of API that will be activated from the Google Cloud side. Okay, so I already have activated the run.googlesapi.com API, FNR, PubSub, and storage. So it will be much faster. Okay, so updating, it will be run in the NodeJS 18 second gen Cloud Run function, Google Cloud Run function. All of them are deployed to Google Cloud. So to verify, you can go to the website, to your project console in Firebase, click functions, and then it should list all your deployed functions here. So we have 3: create function, update function, and delete function. Okay, now let's try to basically test this by creating a new document, election document. So in Xcode, let's basically run this in a simulator first. Okay, and try to create a new document, and let's verify whether the channel ID is created using the Cloud Run function or not. Okay, it runs. Now let's try to create a new election. Okay, so let's just use auto ID for the document ID, and then create a new field ID and paste the ID in here. Okay, and add a new field, candidate a name. Let's try to create Elon Musk. Okay, and count, we just set this type as number and set the value to 50 percent. Let's set the type as number, initial value is 25%, and a image name, let's use mask, and let's set the candidate B. It should be who? Bill Gates, let's say Elon Musk versus Bill Gates. And B count number, so this 50, B percent, number 25%, and B image name. Okay, so let me check Bill Gates name in the assets catalog. Okay, it's B Gates. Okay, so let me verify image name string, B percent number, B count number. Yeah, everything looks good. Now let's save this. Boom, there you go. We have Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and we have the channel ID created. So it means our onCreate trigger Cloud Run functions it's executed successfully. Okay, and one thing that I want to show you as well is you can basically investigate the logs for each functions, or you can also go to this per function usage details. I think I prefer this, and this click this create function. Okay, you can see the log, click the logs. Okay, as you can see, successfully updated channel ID for election. So this is the latest one. Okay, for that Elon Musk versus Bill Gates. Okay, so update function works fine. Now what we can do, there's one thing that we haven't implemented in the iOS set, which is to start the live activity given the channel ID. So let's do it now. Let's go back to the iOS application, go to the view model. Okay, so for this I'm going to copy paste to save time, and I will explain it to you. Okay, so start live activity given the election and the channel ID. First we check using the activity authorization info frequent pushes enable. In case that is true, then we'll continue. Otherwise, we will just return because there is no permission, but we have added the permission in our info plist file, right? And as support live activity frequent updates. And next one is we initializing the activity attributes using the election widget attributes, passing the election.id, and we initialize the activity, start the activity using this activity.request, passing the attributes, and the content, we initialize the content using this election from this parameter. So election a name, election b name, we just basically map that to the content state. Style that I just pass nil, and the push type, this is important for the live activity broadcast. We need to use channel type passing the channel ID. Okay, so it will basically use the live activity broadcast associated with the channel, and we don't need to listen to any push token for this. So it is much easier compared to the standard live activity, right, where we need to manage the token and the token can get updated. Okay, so this is simple, and then this is just a method to toggle the is live activity registered to true, so it won't be shown in the UI after the user subscribe. Okay, and we need to basically go to the content view, and in this button we need to invoke start live activity passing the election and the channel ID. Okay, now let's run this. Okay, it is running. Now we can start listening to updates. So let's click on this get real-time live activity updates. Okay, this disabled. Now the button is hidden because we have subscribed, and let's see. Nice, there you go, Elon Musk versus Bill Gates in our notification lock screen. Amazing, right? Now let's try to update, and let's see whether it's got updated successfully. So Elon Musk or Bill Gates. First, let's set the percentage for Elon Musk. Let me set this to 0.5 for Elon Musk. Should update. Wow, nice. Nice. And then let's set the count for the Elon Musk to 100. Sorry, this is Bill Gates. Elon Musk, this account 100. And let's see. Nice, it is updated in real time. So it means our on document updated serverless function got triggered successfully. And now for the on delete, we can simply basically check this by just deleting this document. Okay. And the simplest one, if you want, you can check the from this CloudKit console whether your channel is deleted successfully. But for this, I'm just going to inspect this using the logs. Okay, so let me go back to the dashboard, and I'm going to use this per function usage details and select the delete function logs. Looking at the logs, okay, if you see the latest logs here, successfully deleted channel ID for this Elon Musk versus Bill Gates, okay, election. And yeah, that's basically it for our tutorial this time. We have successfully created the live activity broadcast for the live election results, okay. And using this live active broadcast is very useful if you want to broadcast the live activity updates to huge number of users at the same time, right? Because you don't need to manage the push token for each of the user that already started this live activity. We only need to use a single channel to broadcast to all the users of our application, okay. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you like this video tutorial and also you learn a lot, because I also learn a lot when creating this as well, okay. So like the channel, like the video if you like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and until the next video tutorial, let's keep on being a lifelong learner. Goodbye.